Well, thank you for staying with us. The long-standing battle over etolls in Gauteng is over. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana has told the nation etolls will be scrapped and that government will take over Sanral's debt. Godongwana made the announcement at his medium-term budget policy statement on Wednesday, and there are still logistical challenges that remain, though. So how will government resolve these? We're joined by Gauteng Transport MEC, that's Kedibone Diale-Tlabela, joining us this afternoon. MEC, thank you for your time and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Tumelo, and good afternoon to viewers of eNCA.
Absolutely. We want to know, are etolls indeed over? I think for us, you're residing in Gauteng and Johannesburg. I mean, we just need to hear it from the horse's mouth. Are they really over? Are there more logistical, sort of like procedures that still need to take place? What's the transition now from what the finance minister had to say?
Thank you very much. I think as people of Gauteng, we have for the longest time, raising an issue that etolls must be scrapped. I think this was led by the ANC also in our province. And we are glad and we are happy. We welcome the announcement as made by Minister Godongwana. What we will be doing, and we just started that work as a province, is the meaning of 30%. We're still consulting on what kind of model are we going to use to pay off that 30%. And obviously you'll understand there's thorough investigations that needs to be done so that we're able to communicate to people of Gauteng on what does it mean to them also, right, as the people of Gauteng. So we are in consultation. I think we will also be led by our provincial treasury office as Gauteng on how do we go about doing some things, but also the pronouncement itself. What does it mean generally to Gauteng and Gauteng people? Yes, the etolls are scrapped. We are happy about that. But then the burden that comes with what needs to be done moving forward. We need to clearly outline what becomes our strategy as a province and what are the discussions we'll be taking forward with the national department, including National Treasury. So basically, we are still consulting.
You're still consulting.
And people of Gauteng must be patient with us. We'll come back to them and communicate how are we going to offset.
So you're not sure at this stage the timelines with which you'll come back to motorists and Gauteng residents on this matter?
One of the things that the Premier of Gauteng, Ntate Panyaza Lesufi, has committed himself is that ours is to accelerate service delivery. And everything that we do, we must do it on time. And I think we are going to do that. I can't speak to timelines. I'm one of those people who are cautious about people communicating timelines before they understand what is on their plate. And I can confidently say there's a team, a formidable team within our department and within the provincial government who will obviously, when we are ready, come back and communicate how are we going to handle the part and the responsibility given to us by the pronouncement by Ntate Godongwana.
Right. MEC, just on that point, you make mention of service delivery, a multi-million K101 road construction project set to create jobs and boost local economy. Tell me more about this.
This is one of the projects that we found in the pipeline, and it's a 30-month project. It's just started 6 months. And this is to assist us to alleviate pressure on the N1, but also traffic congestion coming out of Midrand and the surrounding townships. There's Ivory Park, Galfontein, and this is one of the projects that we are busy with, road construction projects that we are busy with as a provincial government. Like I say, it will help us ease the traffic congestion. One of the things that the provincial government is clear on is #Tish. Our focus to developing townships, ensure that we actually economically uplift the informal settlement and deal with issues of hostile development. So this is one of those projects that will assist us. One of the things that we emphasized more when we went to do the sword turning was to ensure that the main contractor leaves the skill, transfer the skill to the local people. Secondly, one of the things that I'm passionate about is that when you are appointed in any government project as a service provider, you must leave something with that community. Not only temporary jobs or jobs creation, but what are the legacy things that we should remember you with? Yes, you got a multi-million project. That area alone has a challenge of overcrowding in classes. You know, we are in dire need of classes. One of the things that I suggested to them, that I'm not saying do it, I'm just appealing to your conscience that yes, you have won the tender, you are developing the road, well and good. You are accommodating our 30% small medium enterprises, you are accommodating our local laborers and local people on economic opportunities that comes with developing that road. But another thing that we are appealing as this leadership is to say that also leave something, your CSI, your social responsibilities to also assist communities where you find yourself.
And how will you assure that happens, MEC? I mean, just in terms of monitoring and evaluation, because oftentimes we've seen some projects similar where the community then protests and says, but, you know, you've awarded, you know, this tender to someone that doesn't give back, doesn't do what you had set out in your terms and condition. Is there clear monitoring and evaluation policy?
There is. Remember, this is one of the projects I'm doing continuation. Right. And then one of the things that we picked up, there were disagreements on the ground on how they are going about inclusion of local people into the projects. And this is a cross-border project. So it's in Johannesburg and it is also in Tshwane. So you can imagine the competition because of high unemployment, lack of access to economic opportunities. So the department has worked closely with different stakeholders, including the 2 municipalities that are to benefit from this project. So as I'm talking to you, one thing that have not dealt with properly and ensure inclusion of that strategic interest group is the people living with disabilities. Right. They are still left out, and I said it must be addressed. Unfortunately, when we were launching, we had a group representing people living with disability, and immediately there and then said, okay, let's work together with them and ensure their inclusion. The project so far and currently, it's fairly representative of what I termed strategic interest groups. Some call them vulnerable groups, the women, the youth, and the people living with disability. Remember, we've got legislation that speaks about set-asides for the 30% for local people. And I think that to an extent was addressed. It's not all perfect, and should understand it's also because we all want access to opportunities, and this is one part of those projects that our communities are looking at. So we tried to put together an inter-municipal steering committee that comprises of councillors in Tshwane who are affected by the project and councillors in Johannesburg, and ensure that all other issues as and when we implement are addressed. One of the things that I said to the team in the department is that you can't start it when you are not going to finish it. So there's that commitment. Amongst the challenges we have is the ESCOM, Telkom. Along that route, there's a pylon. So those are the challenges that are there that we are starting to ensure that we deal with them and all parties play their role and ensure that our project is not delayed.
And just in terms of understanding the scope of work for the construction, what does it include? I mean, yes, it is a multi-million rand project, but surely there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, which will require multiple skills.
Somebody was laughing at me when I said, but it's 5.4 kilometers. It's a multi-million. What does it take to develop a road? Why is it so expensive? And it starts from Midrand, and I said into city of Tshwane. Secondly, there's 3 bridges along that goes into these different townships that I spoke about that assist us to alleviate pressure also, not only on the M1, N1, but also pressure coming out of Galfontein, Ivory Park, that area. It's what, 92 mostly. You know, one of the first things, I was in the legislature, and one of the challenges that in the legislature we'll have with this department that I'm now overseeing is that why is it so expensive to make a road? And apparently there's a whole lot that goes into that. and there's expensive equipment
Right.
that must be put immediately. You say, I'm starting the project, the equipment must, and it doesn't come cheap. Somebody was also explaining how they make skontir, tarred road, and what goes into that. It's an oil. I forgot the name. I'm sorry. I'll familiarize myself with the technical terms. That oil, I'm told, we're not getting it in the country, and it's quite very expensive, and it must be used. You can't use anything else, or else your road will continue to have potholes and other things. So there's a whole lot that goes into it, and I think with the team we have, will never mislead us as government, and we are hoping that the service provider will be able to deliver on time. What is important for us as a government is delivery on time, and because that road has an impact on the economic growth of our province.
Yeah. And what timelines have you given the
it's
service
30
provider?
months.
Okay.
They should be done somewhere in March, in 2024. Yeah, it's just at 2024.
Okay.
I've just forget. I think it's March 2024 or something like that.
So those are the timelines given. So we'll have to wait and see, and hopefully they will be able to deliver. Because if I look at what's required, I mean, the extension of existing reed sprayed bridge, lighting of the entire road, installation of traffic lights, construction of new drainage, concrete side drains, a lot has to be done. But 30 months is the timelines given to the service provider. So MEC, with that being said, I mean, looking at the role that your department plays in the delivery of goods and services, we're talking books, stationery, furniture, etc. We could go on and on. How important is this role, and how seriously do you take it? Of course, we know that Gauteng being the economic hub in terms of being a province with more economic opportunities, but also the roads that lead to other provinces. How important and a priority is it for your department to ensure that all roads do work, they function, they clear, and they deliver to those services?
The portfolio is transport and logistics. It's quite big, and we still do roads and transport, and roads and transport are at the center of economic growth. For you to get a bread in a township, there must be a truck that moves from a point to that point in the township, and once the roads are not in good condition, that gets disrupted. So this is quite important, and I think the ANC-led government is up to the task and looking at how we have prioritized road construction in our province. So this is at the center of economic growth. This is at the center of ensuring that we create the much needed jobs, because it's labor-intensive projects. And I think we'll be able to an extent, working closely together with people of Gauteng, will be able to deal with some of the challenges that communities are finding themselves in. So one of the things that we did as part of our first month during this transport month was to launch a report done by both the department and CSIR, a household travel survey, which its role was to just check what is the impact of household travel post-COVID-19. And sadly, there is no change. So the burden is still there of ensuring that people get to work on time, and people get to work safe. And I think there are projects already that are in the pipeline. If you listened to the Premier as he was announcing us, there are things that we need to go and prioritize. And most importantly, to ensure that we combat crime, and ensure that our roads in Gauteng are safe, ensuring that there's lighting, ensuring that we've got, I think one of the things that we will be launching is a new number plate that is traceable, that is trackable, because crime is committed and a car is used and the road is used. So those are the things that we will be doing. Interestingly also, we have launched a partnership with an international organization where we train those who are in the employ of government within the transport sector, just to have knowledge but also come up with creative solutions to resolve the challenges that we are faced with.
And I suppose reinforcing on your skills development agenda, MEC, I have to stop you there, but thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us this afternoon. Gauteng Transport MEC Kedibone Diale-Tlabela, of course, talking to us this afternoon about the plans with which the province has just in terms of further skills development and service delivery.